What's up, Leafs fans, and welcome to Leafs Digest. Let's keep this one short and simple. The madness is already underway here in Leafs land. Development camp is underway, and informal skates started today, and as reported by Jonas Siegel of The Athletic, we have got ourselves our first hint of some things that may be coming up to start this Leafs season. One of the big things that's been debated all the way along here throughout this offseason is how will these lines shape up coming into this upcoming season? And one of the biggest questions has been, what will that left side look like? There's obviously some guarantees here in terms of Matthews and Marner are going to start together, Tavares and Nylander. And that right side has been pretty much shored up since the time starting last season. We've pretty much had an idea what that's going to look like, and not much has gone on to change there. The biggest change, obviously, has been Zach Hyman going out the door and a bunch of new faces coming in to replace those guys. Now, we haven't necessarily been able to figure out what's going to go on, and nobody knows for sure how things are going to play out to start this season, but my best guess is that Nick Ritchie will start this season on that first line with Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner. The biggest questions kind of start to come in when it comes down to lines 2, 3, and 4. Who's going to slot into that left wing position on each of those lines? Will things move around? Will Nick Ritchie be bumped out of that first spot? How is it going to play out? Who's going to have the best chemistry? And then obviously, who's going to fit into these center slots? Is Alex Kerfoot going to bump over to the wing? Are guys going to move up and down between 3 and 4? How is that going to all play out? But our biggest concern to this point has been what's going to happen on this left side. And as Jonas Siegel reports today, out of informal skates, our first informal skate with the big club, Michael Bunting was skating today with John Tavares and William Nylander. And now, as Jonas Siegel said himself in this tweet, this could be nothing or could be a hint of where he'll land at the start of training camp next week. Now, I don't want to just jump too far into this one, and I don't want to just fully take this one out of context, but it was widely debated, especially after the fact that he was such a sought-after free agent, that Michael Bunting would be the guy to slot into this top 6 position. Now, there was a lot of debate and speculation as to whether or not he'd actually get the start on the first line, but I'm going to go out here and say that with him skating with John Tavares, I'm thinking it is much more than likely that first, a guy like Ilya Mikheyev, who we talked about in 2 videos ago, is not going to get a shot right away with that top 6. He's going to have to play himself into that top 6 position and earn that, just as Josh was saying. So full credit to Josh on that. Just based on what we're seeing today from this informal skate, it looks like Ilya Mikheyev is not necessarily seated into that top 6 position. He's going to have to fight for it, but honestly, I kind of like this. I'm excited about seeing Michael Bunting get a chance there. I don't necessarily know if this means he starts the season there, if he starts training camp there. Maybe these skates go on and he looks terrible next to John Tavares. We don't really know. We haven't even got that big of a sample size of Michael Bunting in the NHL itself. He's strictly being a guy who's been hyped up, talked about all around. Whether or not he's this guy who can actually continue point production for an extended period of time and whether he can last in the NHL. He did pretty well in Arizona, but it's yet to be determined whether or not he can stick around. Guys have stints where they just go off for a crazy number of points in a short amount of time, then tail off, never to be heard again. Let's hope that's not the case with Michael Bunting. Now, we grabbed him on a pretty valuable contract under $1 million for 2 years. It's a chance for him to prove himself, grab some sort of security in terms of being in this league for 2 years. But if Michael Bunting can solidify himself in this top 6, I think this gives, just at least to start the season, I think this gives us a lot of opportunity for competition on that left side. The right side, I don't think is going to have as much competition, especially considering the first line and the second line aren't necessarily 1-2s. It's more of a 1A, 1B, because when you look around the league, a John Tavares, William Nylander combination is going to be our number 1 line on pretty much any team in the NHL, with a few exceptions, obviously, but it's not necessarily a 1-2, it's more of a 1A, 1B. So you're going to look at that and say, anybody who's playing on that Tavares Nylander line, you're not slumming it by any sort of the imagination. You are playing with star-studded players who are legitimate top-end talents across the NHL. But when you look across that left wing side, we are seeing a lot of new faces other than Ilya Mikheyev slotting into those spots. And one of the other things that's come out of this camp, which is obviously just development camp, and you got to take it with a grain of salt because he is playing against other rookies, but Kristen Shilton from TSN has reported that Nick Robertson has been performing incredibly, scoring multiple goals in each of his games that he's played in, getting points, looking very, very confident with the puck. It's been a huge question as to whether or not Nick Robertson's going to be ready to join this club full-time, but as these reports have come out from development camp, it seems that he's taking great strides in improving his game and getting ready to join in to the big club for the full season this upcoming year. And I think that whether or not he starts the season as a full-time guy or he's in the press box watching a couple games, I seriously think at this point that by the end of the season, Nick Robertson will be a full-time Toronto Maple Leaf playing with this big club, whether he's playing on the third line, second line, or even if he's able to push himself up to a spot on that first line. I think there's a lot of flexibility with these left wingers, and I'm excited to see how this pans out. Now, if Michael Bunting has good chemistry with John Tavares and William Nylander, I think there's no reason to move that around. I think you then start to experiment with who slots into the first line if Nick Ritchie doesn't work out there. I think you start to move Ritchie around and you see if other guys like Mikheyev maybe can slide into there, or Nick Robertson fits well in that position. But I think that if Michael Bunting can slot into that spot with John Tavares and William Nylander and play very well with him, you don't mess with that chemistry. You let them be. You see how it goes throughout the season, throughout the beginning of the regular season, and just start to figure some things out from there. I think he's a valuable guy who can, if he can provide you a lot of points at a $950,000 a year contract, that is a guy you love to have in your top six, because it is hard to come by guys who are going to play on small contracts like that, take small hits of the cap, and for them to provide any sort of point value, it is like found gold. It is hidden treasure. And we got to absolutely appreciate a guy like that coming here and being able to perform if he's able to do so. So there's nothing here that's exceptional or nothing in cement. We don't know for sure what the lines will be, but we did get ourselves a first look at Michael Bunting getting to skate alongside John Tavares, William Nylander. By all accounts, things went smoothly there. Nick Robertson has been dominating in camp. Yet to hear anything about Nick Ritchie or Ilya Mikheyev coming here. And then we're still waiting on Austin Matthews, whether or not he'll be good to go at any point during training camp, preseason, or if he'll even start for game one of the regular season. But as more Leafs news comes out, more rumors, more talks, more informal skate news, and we can blow this out of proportion because we are Leafs fans, and that's exactly what we do. All of that content can be found here on the Leafs Digest channel, so make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, anything about that I've just mentioned. Make sure you do so. Share this with your friends. And let us know what you think in the comments below it. Should Nick Robertson get a chance in this top six? Are you happy to see Michael Bunting there? Do you agree with me that Nick Ritchie is probably going to solidify himself onto that first line unit, at least to start this season? We want to hear everything you guys have to say. Look forward to hearing from you guys, and we look forward to talking to you guys in the next video. See you, Leafs fans.